good afternoon. I'm Erik Linask. I'm here in the TMC newsroom, and joining me on today's program, I have Shams Kahn. Shams is the Principal Solutions Consultant at SCB Global. Shams, welcome. So great to have you on the program.
Thanks, Erik, and good morning to everybody who's tuned in today.
So, Shams, I know we've got several topics that we want to get to, but can you start by giving us just a brief overview of who SCB Global is and what you do?
Sure. So SCB Global launched in 2004 under a parentship known as Zamet Telecom. We are a modern, global, and an agile carrier delivering unparalleled omni-channel interactions that powers businesses to communicate, adapt, and thrive in a fast-changing world. We augment and optimize the Microsoft experience to deliver a global UCaaS and CCaaS solution built for Microsoft Stack. With a range of our Opto family that we have built, we help enterprises achieve business outcomes that support their digital transformation journey.
Certainly some key buzzwords in there right now. One of the big buzzwords right now, of course, Microsoft Teams. We've all heard the statistics, seen the statistics on the increasing use of Teams. Can you talk about native Teams integration for a moment, and specifically, why is it so important? What does it mean for businesses?
Sure. I think before we dive into this topic, I feel it is very important, given the need of the hour, to make a call out here. The lines, what's been native or what is native, what's not native, have been blurred. Pre-COVID, we found almost every UCaaS, CCaaS vendor, including the ones from the Gartner Magic Quadrant, were employing tactics of anti-Microsoft Teams being a light touch PBX and various other things. Then we see the rise of COVID, virtual interaction being the only way to do business. We saw a surge in the adoption of collaboration platforms, with Microsoft Teams outflanking all. The very same vendors who couldn't fight the wave had no choice but to join the wave of Microsoft Teams. We saw pretty much a swivel chair effect, as overnight many had gotten a native integration in place. But in reality, they're using a third-party connector and then get the customer to pay for Microsoft Teams platform plus their own. While this may achieve the basic compliance to make the solution work, it is still not ticking the box from a native Teams integration. So what does it mean? In layman's term, it is like buying an Android platform and then an Apple platform, then buying a license to bridge the two and trying to pretty much achieve in a roundabout way when you can take the straight road. Then there's lots of clever marketing, just adding to the confusion and noise in the team space, making it very harder for buyers and enterprises to make those decisions and cut through this noise. So it is very important, I think, to highlight the potential risks, the SLA metrics, and the impacts it can come with relying on a third-party connector for a critical piece of a team solution. So what is native then, right? So in our opinion, a native solution is a one that is built, managed, and operated as a certified carrier-hosted architecture, running out of Microsoft Azure locations for a seamless calling experience, offers a compliant omni-channel Teams recording plus contact center, leverages Microsoft Teams bot framework, leverages Power BI for analytics and reporting, leverages Microsoft Cognitive Service for sentiment analysis and AI, thereby presenting an enterprise with the ability to unlock, augment, and optimize rich Microsoft experience and seamless Teams adoption. So you can see straight away, like native, not native, and what's native has to be defined now because there's so many flavors of vanilla out there.
So is it fair for our readers to assume then that SCB Global does do native Teams integration?
Absolutely, spot on. So SCB are a service provider, which is required for a Teams deployment, plus a Microsoft partner with Microsoft expertise. So we bring both those realms pretty much into our solution, taking away the noise that is there with the marketing jargon, helping them realize those business outcomes that are important for them for a Teams deployment.
One of the reasons that we've seen so much of an increase and uptick in Teams usage is the explosion around remote working and so many millions of businesses and employees working from homes and remote locations and such. And certainly it was a trend that was already happening, but 2020 has just really pushed it into the mainstream. As far as the user experience and managing really those users and managing the technology, it's one thing to do it in a single location, but when you're running an IT department and you've got all these remote users, or you've got multi-location or global businesses, even with with employees starting, at least in some cases, to go back into office buildings, how do you make sure that all of your employees have that same high quality experience across the board?
Sure. I think we have to realize that digitization and globalization has always presented complex challenges. Naturally, with a growing remote workforce, we saw the edge that was a corporate network also shifted from a corporate network central environment into a home environment. And where SCB comes in is SCB comes with those decades of experience to deliver that multi-country complex solution for mid-market and enterprise. We are pretty much once again creating this narrative of breaking silos that exist in communication, collaboration, or contact center. And we give an analogy or a metaphor to help businesses understand this value. Is an onion ring example where we are on a mission to make Microsoft your core of that onion ring, if you like, and we add our Opto platform, our Microsoft experience and service provider expertise to wrap it and present it to those businesses. So wherever you are, you can work from anywhere, and you can realize the investments that you've had in your Microsoft stack a lot better. So enterprises should really look for a supplier who can help them deliver those multi-country solutions and complex solutions for mid-market and enterprise, demonstrate that carrier expertise that is needed. So, there's no latency, where in a home environment, there is local in-country compliance because there's different regulatory laws to make sure your PSTN is delivered in a compliance manner, and reliability on Microsoft stack, as we touched upon what's not native and what's native. And also, lastly, we feel a forward-thinking provider who can address the change that we have experienced now with the change of the edge. So, your corporate network, your home network, looks the same and feels the same and is optimized. So, i.e., SD-WAN, SASE, to come and deliver that pack. So your overlay is also looking after your application layer, which could be any application platform or a VoIP platform in this case.
So you just touched on, you mentioned SD-WAN and SASE, and I did want to ask you, how do those, and again, already emerging, becoming increasingly popular pre-2020, but what does what we've seen this year mean for SD-WAN and SASE and going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So remote workforce naturally, can endure the various forms of communication, but to make it really effective and help you be secure and optimize in the battle of the Netflix and the YouTube traffic that comes from a home environment, it's very important for businesses, and especially in a scenario like right now. Can I send an engineer out there into a home environment with this COVID being, a scare? It causes quite a lot of challenges to have that third eye, as we call it, into the home network environment to ensure that the local network is built and ready for those optimized experience, be it jitter, latency, quality of service, or automation around that, shaping the traffic, what's allowed, what's not allowed, can really add value. And we feel home working solution is here to remain. It's whether it's going to be permanent or not, that's a separate debate, but it is here to remain. We are, as a company, able to provide an optimized and secure experience for your home environment, especially on Microsoft Teams.
Great, thanks, Shams. So, I want to continue along sort of the geography topic, but I want to shift gears a little bit. You as a company are expanding into North America. What can you tell me about your strategy? Why are you doing it? What are your objectives? It's certainly a competitive market already with a number of successful vendors.
Absolutely. So as a call out, SCB Global has been servicing North American market for a few years now with our partners. So we've got lots of VARs and MSPs who buy services. Sometimes they white label our services, and deliver the local, needs of the customers. So we have offices in Chicago and Vegas, but the driver for us to push and deliver this is once again our Opto for Teams platform that's built carrier grade, and SCB becomes a natural candidate who can help enterprises achieve those business outcomes. And with the dispersed workforce, where work from anywhere or having this global, secure, reliable platform on Teams, we tick all the boxes. We are a Microsoft partner, as we said. We can drive all of that into those digital transformation journeys, even in America. Once again, as a service provider, we can deliver on both sides of the Atlantic and globally, which is the play, which is our sweet spot. And from a partnership perspective, partners can really add value into their current stack with our Opto for Teams platform, because that is the need of the hour. We're talking about 115 million daily active users on Teams. That's much more than any other platform vendors or all the platforms combined, So there is absolutely a great opportunity. And now add that into a global play on a single vendor, break those silos operationally, commercially, operationally. You can get that from SCB. That's one of the reasons why we're looking to try and tap into the North American market. Whilst there are many, but we feel we have a great play in Opto for Teams environment where Microsoft becomes the core for our solution.
Who is the ideal partner for SCB Global?
Sure. So SCB Global is looking to partner with master agents who are adding that value. So they're cutting the noise that exists in this space, the research it requires, etc. So that is a really good candidate. Companies who are VARs and system integrators, they are a really good candidate as well, because they work with the customers to deliver a solution-led solution or approach. That is another really good candidate. But we also have some introducers, like, for example, Erik, you might know some companies that you know for many years. They need something and you think SCB can deliver. And that is also a great introductory partner. But the key for us is our partners need to understand our value prop. And for that, we are running various workshops, because it's important for a partner to understand and realize what the SCB proposition is, naturally alongside the many others that they probably are aware of. So that's another thing that we are trying to work heavily on.
And as far as end customers, are you looking for Teams users or anybody who may be interested in Teams? Who's the ideal end customer for you?
Great question. So we always have this thing that we say we are vertical agnostic, because every vertical requires a business critical communication. However, we are saying to our end customers, or even if there's an end customer who doesn't use Teams, we are saying, why not? Because you are an Office 365 user, you use Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Let us show you how you can unlock your investment that you already have. Let us show you how you can augment and optimize. Let us help you cut through the noise that you may have heard about Teams and the resilience, what if Teams goes down, etc. How SCB has really added that value prop, which will be a compelling reason for you to build your digital transformation journey in UCaaS and CCaaS. Not every customer will be won over by it, but we feel there is a 77% of Microsoft market, which is big enough for us to go in and explain to them the value that you can get from your current investments.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, Shams, what are one or two things that you really would like our audience to understand or know about SCB Global?
Absolutely. So this is a great question. I mean, from an SCB standpoint, there are many, but I'll highlight few without acting as a plug. So we are a modern service provider who are agile, nimble, with one of the largest footprint to break silos in communications, procurement, and operations that you probably have figured out by now. We strongly believe in a solution-led approach that we call it crawl, walk, and run. So we don't really put you in a box and say, this is the solution. You go to the cloud. We work with you with federation, sometimes providing on-premise solution, be it global SIP or whatever you need. And lastly, we are an experienced Teams partner who have the right badges and and expertise that are needed for Microsoft Teams play. So if you are thinking Teams, think SCB.
That's great, Shams. Now, for any partners or potential customers, what's the easiest or best way for them to get in touch with SCB Global?
The easiest way is to drop us an email on sales@scb-global.com, or they can feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My profile's open, so we can connect there as well.
Excellent. That's fantastic information. Shams Kahn from SCB Global joining me today on the TMC Newsroom. Shams, thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we can catch up again here soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.